and gentlemen, what we have here is the new Polo GTI. And what the Polo GTI is to Volkswagen is what the Golf GTI is to Volkswagen too. And that is a sporty but very user-friendly hatchback. So, what's the deal with the Polo GTI? Well, you can drive fast but can also ride comfortably, and it is for everyday use. Further, what you get is a lot of extra goodies. And one of them is this red stripe. Well, it doesn't sound like much, but that is one of the easiest way to tell that the Polo is a GTI. There are some exterior modifications. Firstly, the red line that goes through the entire front of the car. And if this car wouldn't be red, you will see it more easily. You have some black plastic bits that goes throughout the entire front, and also this black lip. But if you didn't know what the GTI stands for, I don't think that you would know that this car is a GTI, meaning a really, really fast car. You get Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, but they are really, really skinny, 215s. So this car should behave a little crazy, meaning no grip and a lot of fun. These tires are 17, the rims are 17 inch, and I don't think that they are special enough to fit on a GTI. You can get extra option wheels if you want to. The rear part of the car, however, is worse. I mean, the Polo is not a bad looking model. It looks fine. But when you buy a GTI, you buy the car to be something extra. But what do you get? Well, the GTI badge on the left hand side, some lower part here, and some black lip spoiler thingy. And you also get those two exhausts, which in reality is just one, but split in the end. Is this what you get when you pay 30,000 euros for a Polo GTI?
Let's talk about the interior. It is typical Volkswagen. If you've sat in a Volkswagen before, you'll recognize a lot. You have the classical Volkswagen steering wheel, which is very, very nice to hold in. You have red accents throughout the interior, and especially with the red, white and black kilt style seat, you feel that this car is a mixture of two things. You have the craziness of the fabric of the seat, but you also have the restraint and the calmness and just the usability of regular Volkswagen. And I like that Volkswagen has found a very good mixture between those two things. And in reality, the only thing that you should be worried about is this little button here. The car will change completely. You have Eco, you have Normal, and you have Individual. Individual, you can choose every parameter that you want to have. So, if you want the car to be loud, you can put the exhaust in sport mode. If you want the springs to be comfortable, you put that Eco or Normal. When you want to sound a lot, but you don't really want your back to be broken into two pieces, then you can have that. interior is very square, which I find is pretty interesting. It's very boxy, and the interior quality has some good places. The steering wheel is the one that I like the most, but on other parts you have cheap sounding plastics. But all in all, it's a very nice place to be. The seats are a bit heavily bolstered, and if you're a bit bigger than me, you will have a hard time sitting comfortably, and especially on long journeys it could become pretty uncomfortable, if I'm honest. Which I should be, because this is honest car reviews. Also, speaking of long distance, the tires are Pilot Sport Force. There's tiny 215s, and they transmit quite a lot of road noise. Also, there are some vibrations throughout the car. I don't know if you can hear that. It's something metallic. I don't know what it is. I tried to locate it, but I haven't found it. And those bring down the quality of the interior, the feeling. And maybe it's because this press car has been heavily used. It has had almost 12,000 kilometers, hard miles, I could imagine. I tried to be moderate, but you have the power of 200 horsepower, turbocharged horsepower, high torque horsepower, and it's impressive that Volkswagen has been able to make this tiny, not tiny, it's a big engine, because the engine comes from the big brother, the Golf GTI, but it's down-tuned a bit, so it produces 200 horsepower and around 300 newton meters of torque, but it still averages around 5 liters per 10k. If you're in the city, it will of course consume more, around 10 liters per 10k. But this is a testament on how far Volkswagen goes to make it two sides of one coin. You have the more aggressive side, and you have the more restrained and comfortable side. But I have to mention the engine character. This is a turbocharged engine, and that's how it's done nowadays. It's a 4-banger turbocharged engine. Curves from the horsepower and the torques is like whoop, which means that when you reach the peak, nothing more happens. And it's sad in some ways. I would like that they could have just moved that thing more towards the higher revs, and it would make two things. The car would rev fast at higher revs, and those two things goes together so well. High revs and high acceleration, just like a normal naturally aspirated motor. How's the Polo GTI to drive? Well, it's quick and it's fun. It's a hot hatch. It feels like you're driving a million miles an hour, even though you're just driving 50 kilometers an hour. But the Polo GTI is a GTR. The Polo GTI is mature. It lacks some of that special character that the Fiesta has been able to capture. I think that Volkswagen did this because they wanted to, not because it's not good enough. I think that Volkswagen did this deliberately, and I think that they did this because a Volkswagen is supposed to be enjoyable, easy to use, but at the same time fast. And let's see how fast it is now. I mean, sport, I have the sport suspension, I have the sport transmission on. but there's something lacking. Everything happens fast, but it just happens. Comparing the Polo GTI and the Fiesta ST is like comparing a German and a crackhead. The German will do everything that you want it to do. Very good, very efficiently, but uneventful. The crackhead, however, the Fiesta ST, will do what it wants, and it will feel like the biggest rush that you had. As I praise the Fiesta ST, would I buy that car over the Polo GTI? I am not so sure, because this is easier to use as a daily basis. I think that the interior is mostly your own preference, and I like this interior. It's more mature, and I think that everything that's around this car is mature. But in the end, is a hot hatch supposed to be mature? I don't think that those two words go together very well. And for that, the Polo GTI is not the new king of the small hot hatches, but it's a darn good attempt, and it is a car that you seriously consider when you're buying a hot hatch.
So, what are my final thoughts about the Polo GTI? Well, it's expensive, and in the competition with the Ford Fiesta ST, which cost about 26,000 euros, and the Clio RS, well, this falls short. This does not go all the way. It's not as exciting to drive, and there's a lot of road noise. But for everyday use, this car works better than the competition. But the king of hot hatches, I don't think so.